back to another episode of the Waffle Press Hangouts. I'm your host, Diego Crespo. With me today is my co-host in the first show of 2021, an extremely normal year so far, is my co-host, Gina Bursa.
Hey, how's it going? I'm glad to see you in this new year. It's currently going not so great, but
A lot is happening, and more will happen between the time this is, I'm sure, and the time we're recording it. But also here is co-host from Serving Up Comics, Nick Valero.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
I want to die. No, I'm actually doing good. Like, I said this at the beginning of 2020 as well. I was like, I'm really optimistic about this year. And then obviously, you say something like that, and then God just laughs at you.
yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like this is coming together. I feel like it's going to be a good year for all of our podcasts. I feel like it's going to be a good year for just us in general. We got a lot to fix in the world. We got a lot to do good for each other, to be kind to people, and to see a lot of movies. But Nick, it's been a minute since you've been on the Hangouts. How you doing? What's new? Inform us about your life. What did you wear today?
I wore my Batman pop shirt.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'm wearing and then like usual, like everybody in the podcast probably, I'm wearing pajama bottoms.
I was wearing pants.
it's the pandemic look.
Yeah. Well, I'm wearing an AOC shirt, so I think
Hey, what band is that?
no, this is AOC. There you go.
Oh, okay.
I know. Just
The person who should run for president, they just gotta bump that age limit down a little bit. But
Yeah.
It's really funny whenever people mention AOC to Nancy Pelosi, and she looks like the ex-wife.
No, well, it's
like,
because
hey.
Nancy Pelosi knows that her time is up. Sorry,
Yeah.
Go away. But unrelated and on a much better note, something else that ended way later than it should have. Sons of Anarchy. I'm wearing my Sons of Anarchy sweater.
Hey, nice.
Yeah.
Do you watch Mayans?
I haven't seen the Mayans. It took me a minute to finally finish Sons of Anarchy because I did not like a lot of that show towards the end.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
So because I've watched King Arthur a number of times, the Guy Ritchie King Arthur.
That's a great movie.
It's made me really want to start Sons of Anarchy.
There you go.
Unum is so good. Like, I think he's legitimately good in King Arthur. And in Sons of Anarchy, you can feel him fighting the accent all the time. Like, there's an episode where his girlfriend's like, I'm trying to be part of this family. And he's like, you're not our family. And it's like,
You're like, whoa, that's not good. I you know what? For just for King Arthur, because a lot of people say it's a garbage movie.
They're wrong.
But I love the idea that Charlie Dunham has literally said, it's not a garbage movie. It turned into a garbage movie in editing because some people didn't want to work with the fucking directors, and like some people's performances were just terrible. So we really should remake that movie.
Oh, yeah. I love that movie.
I genuinely love that. I put that on my 100 best movies of the 2010s list. I find that an incredibly entertaining film, and I think the editing is actually remarkable.
Yeah, the editing in the scene where it's him growing up, that montage of like him learning like all these lessons about like what it takes to survive in like a lawless like kingdom. That's an incredible like storytelling scene. Like, I love that fucking scene so much.
I mean, in all fairness, I really like the scene when he's planning everything, and like it's because he's 10 steps ahead of everybody that he can respond and like tell you what you're going to say.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. I don't know why that got me, where I was like, I love this king. He's amazing.
Yeah, and surprisingly, I know it got smacked on a lot because of the VFX at the end, but I was like, oh, this is like, it's he's reliving his childhood nightmare. It's literally him like fighting his trauma and being able to grow up apart from it and become the man he was always meant to be. Like, it's just looks like a cutscene, but like, I don't know, if a movie or story like makes like the ideas work, I can gel with it, even if it, like The Irishman, the VFX, everyone knows it's not great in the beginning of that movie.
Yeah.
But it's a Martin Scorsese film, so it's also one of the best movies ever made. Anyway, like it just happens that way sometimes. So
yeah.
Also, no, it really does. Yeah.
I mean, also you get to see De Niro and also Pesci on the screen again with Al Pacino. Come on.
Yeah. That.
Come on.
no one sleep on that movie. That's such a fucking good movie.
Yeah, I mean, if you have 3 hours to like watch it all the way through, please do that. Was it like 3.5 hours?
It's a long one, and I'm not gonna say you don't feel it, but I think it's one of the rare movies where it's like you need to feel how long it is because the story about like how fucking pathetic it is to die like that.
Yeah, I guess this goes into topics later, but do you condone watching that as a quote unquote mini series?
I do because
Yeah,
I'm gonna be a Scorsese simp. He was like, as long as you watch it and you get something out of it, and I was like,
there you go.
Oh, this is why Scorsese is the best, because everyone presumes he's like some pretentious little art house dude.
Yeah, he hates Marvel.
And he was just, no, I just don't think they're that like compelling as movies. They're like theme park rides.
I don't think he like hates Marvel. Like he's malicious against Marvel. I think he.
No, his whole thing is just like he likes studying and exploring pictures. And right now, it feels like the kind of the studio system is not allowing the same breadth makers to exist as they did when he was there. Right. He watched plenty of new stuff. It's just not.
But I was gonna say, what Marvel movie do you think he watched?
Thor: The Dark World.
Thor: The Dark World.
And he was like, "I'm done."
Because he said he sold them, so he had to have seen something.
His daughter watches them. Right. I know that for her Instagram posts that go viral. But I bet he watched like the first Avengers and was like, not for me. Because look, I love the first Avengers. Joss Whedon, I think, is an incredible writer. Not the best director, and that's all I have to say about that matter because of other things that we don't have time to get into, quite frankly. So, but okay, on the docket today, we're talking about Netflix recommendations, what movies we're looking forward to the rest of the year. This is just kind of a loose it's a hangout show. You know how this goes. It's just kind of loosey-goosey. But Gene, how did you think that tied into the mini series discussion? I guess that's where you're.
Yeah, we're just gonna talk about things we're watching and everything. And
yeah. What? Sorry, I wasn't even like criticizing you. I was just like, I didn't see the connection. I'm sorry. I'm slow.
All right.
But yeah, let's talk about things that got us to 2020. What things could possibly get us to 2021. Mm-hmm. And The Office is also no longer on Netflix, and people have to get personalities now.
Press F on Netflix.
Okay, so I got one. It's a home run. It's a home run.
Okay.
It's great. It's got Walter Goggins, and it's a comedy.
Is it Vice Principals?
It's called The Unicorn.
I've heard of Unicorn. Is it?
It's actually really funny.
Okay.
It's
all right. Great.
The basic premise of The Unicorn is that it is a guy with 2 daughters and a group of friends, and it's a year after the death of his wife, and he's now trying to get back out into the dating world. And it's interesting. It's really good because he's like a genuinely like nice, trusting guy. Like he's a nice dude that just like happens to, be Walter Goggins.
Okay.
And but the great thing is that it's the interaction between the friends and their families as well that really kind of make that comedy come to life, because it's kind of like having a bunch of married friends and they're one single friend. And so like they're all trying to live vicariously through him and like tell him what to do, even though they all haven't been single in 20 years. So that's where like the comedy kind of comes in. It's a lot of fun. It's a great show.
It sounds cute. I love Walton Goggins. Also, I'm just going to toss, I'm not going to go into this one, but just tossing it out, Vice Principals and Righteous Gemstones. He only has a supporting role in Righteous Gemstones, but that show is fucking unbelievable. And so is Vice Principals. So check them out. Gene, what have you been watching?
Lately, I've been doing a rewatch of Batman, the animated series. I've been like tweeting about it because I have nothing to do. And
it's a lot of episodes, man.
It's a lot. It's like that first season's like 60. I'm like, what the fuck? And they're all airing, I guess, like days after each other because of Fox Kids or whatever. Ordered a lot. So, but yeah, I'm rewatching that and seeing the rewatch because I don't think I've watched it since I was a kid. And seeing how mature that show is, and like, oh man, this kid, they have like storylines about like drug abuse or like mafia hits, police corruption. The police are kind of like, I wouldn't say they're portrayed like like
Idiots?
idiots, but like they're portrayed really at odds with the Batman in that first season because he's like they're telling him like, hey, like stop right there, or they're telling him like drop this criminal that you're like carrying 50 stories above the ground in the Batwing. Like they're like really kind of like they're not really getting along. Just really him and Commissioner Gordon. They go out of their way to show Harvey Bullock is just super fucking incompetent at like his job, and hey, like that's like a lot of problems that people have now, and like yeah, just seeing that show like 30 or 20 years now later, and like it still lives up, and it's just well written as well. Just all the storylines they're adopting certain comic book eras, and like certain writers are kind of getting like a lot of nods in terms of like their influence and all that. It's really interesting. Yeah, I've been loving this rewatch.
I would say that my favorite episode of that, I forget what the episode title is, but it's all about Sid the Squid, the man who killed Batman. It's like the day the Batman dies, where Sid the Squid is basically he's just like a runner for like the mob. He gets hired to be like a driver, and then he accidentally kills Batman. And then everybody's like, he killed Batman! And then everybody's like, oh, buy that man a drink. But all the supervillains are like, oh, well, if I kill him, then I could have killed Batman. So now he becomes like public enemy number one.
Right, or Joker. Or Joker just hates him. He's trying to kill that guy because he killed Batman.
It's like all of his arch nemesis are now trying to kill that guy because he killed Batman.
Yeah. It's such a great show. And then, to think that they had like the kind of the guts to go with those like hard-hitting storylines on like a kids network, like Fox Kids. Like what are the shows they're coming out with? Like at the time I'm looking them up, it's like Bobby's World, Animaniacs. Well, no, not Animaniacs, like Tiny Toons. I mean, those are all
Animaniacs is pretty up there, man.
Yeah, they're pretty up there, but like they're not, these are like you're showing kids, all right, Animaniacs, like funny jokes about whatever. Here's a joke about like hard-hitting corruption. Hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I loved it.
Yeah, no, I loved it. They're like,
the hoops and like dynamics that the kids shows have to jump through, where it's like we have to avoid like the very specific things that can upset children. And by doing so, it's like Justice League. It's like, oh, we can't kill this villain, but now they're cursed to live an existence worse than death itself. And it's like,
well, I was going to say, like,
what the fuck?
Yeah, the Spider-Man. Do you guys remember the Spider-Man animated series? They didn't have guns, so the go-between was they had to use the cops use lasers. It was like they're all like in like 2050 with laser guns. And Spider-Man never hits anyone. He kicks, he webs, he can't punch anyone in that show. Batman like decks people like right through the mouth, like breaks their jaw in the Batman the animated series.
Batman cripples people in that show.
He kills them with health bills.
You know what you just solved for me, Gene?
What?
That's the MCU Spider-Man. He doesn't hit anybody. They're modeling it after the animated series.
Yeah.
At least maybe I'm just wrong, and they're
I think they said that they're. I think the Russos, because like when he's fighting Captain America, they said like he fights like how a kid who doesn't know how to fight would. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I guess that was their explanation.
That's cool.
I mean, I know you don't like them, but
no. What else? Okay, so anything we think could like replace The Office for someone's binge watch stuff. Anything you've been watching might fill that void. Because for me, it's just like New Girl. Everyone knows I love New Girl. I think it's better written than The Office. And Community is now on Netflix as of last like summer. That was a great rewatch. That show ages mostly very well.
Is it all 5 seasons?
6. I wouldn't tell people to avoid season 4. I would say watch it. The quality dip is very notable. Brie Larson's in an episode though, and there's some genuinely touching moments when the show itself kind of realizes that it has to evolve, otherwise die out. And then it does. And then the last 2 seasons are very good, and the ending is very touching.
Okay.
But I honestly, another show in which I've been kind of binge watching and going back to watch again is Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, okay.
That was really, really good. I really enjoyed watching it. And I'm not a Star Trek fan.
You're not?
See, I am.
Yeah.
I joined my pals Mike Schindler and Marcelo Pico over at Talk Film Society to do our Star Trek retrospective this year. Last year now. God, that's gonna be weird. Last year, and I saw the first 3 episodes of Star Trek Disco.
Okay.
Does it get better, Nick?
Does it get better?
No,
Okay.
no, because I
We were on our. Oh, I was just gonna say on our show, Nick. We were just discussing that, and I was asking you to defend like the F-bomb scene. Do you remember? But
you know what, the thing is that I'm a huge fan of Discovery because it is I do feel that it does kind of give a good representation. I feel that Star Trek fans also need to evolve.
yeah, probably.
You know, there is I understand like, well, that's not how it was done in the 60s or anything like that. Yeah, it wasn't done like that in the 60s, but honestly, if you sit there and you watch the show and take the stories in for what they are, you know, it's all about this person who grew up on, because I don't know if you got to like the meat and potatoes of the show.
Yeah, that's why I watched 3 episodes, because I was told the pilot's really not the show it becomes, you know. And like, to your point, I agree that completely. Star Trek fans need to kind of open up a little. Like, some people were very resistant to the JJ movies when they came out, and still are. And then, you know, Into Darkness happened and aged like milk in the sun. But then Beyond brought everyone back, and now they're not making any movies. But like the premise of Star Trek Discovery and even Star Trek Picard, which I saw a little bit of, I was actually super on board with. I think those are interesting directions. The problem is totally the people behind the camera, because I don't think these are very talented writers. But
Picard gets really rough.
Does get.
But Picard is a little bit rough. I'll give you that. Discovery is interesting. Does the writing get a little full, like, you know, just, it gets a little cheesy at times, where you're just kind of going like, all right, it's based off a 60s TV show. You know, every episode needed to mean something, you know? And sometimes, like, though, that does come into effect, but also it is interesting to kind of see how characters and the crew inside of the ship bond together, how friendships they become. And it's interesting too, because you can kind of start seeing like the beginnings of certain things. Like, you can start seeing the beginning of the Borg. You start seeing like the beginning of what was it, of Picard. I mean, not Picard. Oh my God, of, I can't think of his name right now. Leonard Nimoy, Spock. Yeah. I don't know why I couldn't remember Spock. But yeah, but it's also a different retrospective of it, because it's also taking place technically during the original series, is how they're taking it.
Right.
Is that all of this takes place during the original series. Spock eventually eventually becomes second in command. But what you didn't know is that Spock had a sister that no one knew about. And that's what taught him to be the man he was in the Star Trek shows. He was a very different person. It's like, oh, that's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like, it's an interesting point of view, and I liked it. I dug it.
Yeah, like I'm kind of like just personally, like, with all the fucking Star Wars shit needing to be connected to the 9 film saga, I'm like, dude, no more. Like, I don't want Star Trek to start doing that now too. And I'm totally still on board with that criticism, but also I've seen Star Trek 5, and Spock has a brother in that one that's never mentioned before or after ever again. So, not my problem with that show for sure.
Yeah,
I'll get to where Spock shows up.
It was directed by the worst person imaginable, William Shatner.
You know what? To his credit, you get a good editor on his movie, it probably like fine. It sucks. He's kind of had an eye for like landscapes and shit. He almost, but he sucks. Fuck William Shatner.
There's like good acting, I guess, in that scene, which was like ironic, because what's that joke from Star Trek, or was that from Futurama, where he's like, oh, Melvar, you need to respect your actors. Leonard Nimoy's telling him, I respected Bill in Star Trek 4 and I got a great performance out of him. And Shatner says, oh, I respected myself in Star Trek 5 and I got a great performance out of myself.
Yeah.
But like they're like legitimately good acting, like Spock scene, like his birth, his dad doesn't care, or like McCoy scene, like I think his dad died or something.
Well,
There's some good acting in Star Trek
but
5,
also
but
in that show in Discovery, it really does become the Spock show for like 2 seasons.
oh, does it?
Where it's basically giving you a lot of information about Spock, his relationship to his dad, what was it? Their relationship to their father, because she also talks to him like your dad,
Yeah.
and also what it means to be a human living on Vulcan. Like how hard is that? Is that difficult to do? Is it, like the idea of, yeah, she's an African American woman living on Vulcan. She's not being criticized for her race. She's being criticized because she's a human.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. She's actually being criticized for being like her species and stuff like that, and that she can never be as intelligent as Vulcans and stuff like that. And her pursuing past that, becoming like what was it, a star captain? That's really cool stuff.
All right. I heard it does get better. I just
yeah, I did hear that too.
Not with those first couple episodes, and I got Picard. I thought had a way worse opening, though. To be fair, so, like you could just totally tell Alex Kurtzman's like throwing notes at a dartboard and it's like, this is what happens next, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. And I'm like, I don't even know where I am right now. But okay, sure.
Alex Kurtzman, stop.
Yeah.
I felt like,
well, at least there wasn't magic blood
yet. Don't put that out there in the world. I don't know. I mean, whatever. Other shows we've been watching. I watched She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, which
what the hell is that?
It's a She-Ra remake.
Oh,
yeah.
On Netflix. It was recommended by retrospective co-host Matt Garingo and a bunch of other people on Twitter, apparently. Okay. And then I saw it and I was like, yeah, this is a pretty good like pastel version of Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's very cute. And then like a couple episodes in, I'm like, hey, the writing of these characters is like really good. Like I can fully understand like where everyone's coming from. I'm like, they have a very known history. And then by the end of season 3, I'm like pulling my hair out because I'm like, no. And I got very invested. It's a terrific show. Starts off very cute and kind. And it's like love and friendship will solve all our problems. And then by the last season, it's like, we need to kill and dethrone God because God hates us for our imperfections. So that was fun. That was a very fun watch.
I've been actually starting to go through Attack on Titan.
Oh, I saw the first season of that and I was like, all right, that's enough.
Which,
he hates anime.
I liked it at first.
What turned you off?
That it was going to drag out. I felt like it was playing coy, and just like the kind of stuff that I like to watch now. I'm not even saying it's like bad. I just like, I wasn't engaged enough in the mysteries they were dragging out. I was there more for like the coming of age story in a world where it's like they're forced to become either soldiers or like slaves, basically. I'm like, this is like scary and fascinating. Yeah. And then I got the vibe that the show didn't see it as slavery or heroic war stuff. But the mysteries being dragged out, I wasn't really vibing with. Really, that's what it was.
The idea that it's like that it's not heroic war stuff. That is a thing that happens in season that is very much like prevalent in season 2. Mm-hmm. Of like, this is a war. These people are war heroes. Stuff like where this is just a tragedy of war. In the latest season of season 4, by far some of the greatest episodes I've ever watched of like an anime. Like the last episode that literally just aired is comparable to like a really great suspense thriller. Of like, there's a bomb inside of a room, but you just don't know when it's going to take off, when it's going to blow up, and things are happening around it. And you're just like, when the fuck is this bomb going to happen? And people are talking, and it's exposition, and like and you're understanding what everybody's motives and everything like that. You're just going like, this bomb is going to happen. When? And then eventually it just happens, and you're like, oh my god, that's amazing. So yeah, I would definitely recommend Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan, probably one of the best animes I've watched in the past couple of years.
I love
Is it
anime.
Good as Nichijou?
Nichijou, stupid.
Nichijou is like a perfect show.
Our friend of the show, Martin, loves that show. Shout out to him.
The show is like genuinely hysterical.
I know it's generally hysterical, but they're not the same thing at all. God damn it.
What about Food Wars, Nick? Nick loves Food Wars.
Hey man, I really like Food Wars. All right, you know, food sometimes is sexy.
When those clothes come off the anime characters because of food.
You know what, Gene? Watch it and then tell me, and then you can talk shit.
All right.
Jimbo,
I wasn't talking shit. I said that's glorious animation.
No,
Jimbo was asking for anime recommendations to go along with smoking. And I was like, oh, Jim, you should watch Nichijou, but he didn't.
I recommended him Neon Genesis Evangelion. He didn't say anything.
You don't want him to start crying, dude.
No, man. Oh, that's why you got to give him, like, is it wrong to pick up a girl at a dungeon? That time I got reincarnated as a slime.
Or Dragon Ball. Give him Dragon Ball.
Everybody's already watched Dragon Ball, man. You're in the past. Go to the future. Rise of the Shield.
Should we get into movies and stuff that we want to highlight from 2020, or should we just jump into stuff we're looking forward to for this year?
I mean, did you guys watch anything that was like amazing? Because honestly, I mean, the only two movies I really watched from this year was probably Wonder Woman 1984 and Tenet. That was about it.
I think you watched that Justice League animated movie, Nick.
I did watch a Justice League animated movie, in which also that's creepy that you watch. You're looking at my watch list, but
you told me this. I feel like we talked about it.
I know we probably did.
Apocalypse War.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Justice League Apocalypse War. That was an interesting story. It was definitely an interesting story. But from Tenet, I mean, it's definitely not the movie that was going to save cinema. I know that.
No, but like we also got to point out that Nolan never said that. That was very much the WB marketing department, and I think it's very clear that it was not Nolan pushing for its release when the same people were also the ones who absolutely botched the HBO Max day and date release stuff without telling their employees that they were doing that, you know? Like
30 minutes before.
Heads are gonna roll. Like we shouldn't get too into that because it's way above any one of our pay grades. But like, people are gonna big trouble for that. Anyways,
what did Nolan say? It's the worst streaming service.
Yeah, and he's like, that's the fucking problem. No, it's the best streaming service. It's like an infinite library of like film throughout time. They just fucked up like so bad on the corporate side of things.
But that's what he was saying though, because he wasn't saying it's a bad, like it doesn't have a bad library. He's saying like the way they operate and like how they treat people and just like
that's the worst one.
As a business, they're terrible.
Yeah, but I mean, I watched that movie. I literally I watched it with a buddy with my brother, and when we had to pause it multiple times to converse with each other and go, wait, are you getting what I'm getting? Because I'm a little confused. Like we had to pause it a couple of times throughout watch and just kind of go like, all right, I get it.
Wait, Gene, did I say on the show already that I finally saw Tenet, or was it just off mic?
I feel like you did.
Okay. Yeah.
You said that you liked it.
Yeah. I didn't think it was like the best thing ever, but I was vibing with it. I was like, all right, what the fuck is happening? Like, because usually when people say like a movie's confusing, it's like Inception. It's like, no, it's not really confusing. It's just kind of throwing a lot at you. But like that movie makes perfect sense, you know? From like follow that.
The second viewing made a lot more sense for me.
But Tenet is like straight up like incomparable. Like it's incomprehensible for like the first hour.
The first
hour.
Well, I don't know.
Like so you know like the very beginning of Tenet where like he's on the boat and then what was it like he's at the thing and they're teaching him about actual like reversing matter and stuff like that, and it's like, oh yeah, we can analyze matter and we can analyze the bullets and find out where they go, and then all of a sudden they're in fucking Dubai, like out of nowhere. Like me and my brother went, why the fuck are they in Dubai?
Yeah,
because they don't really mention why they went to Dubai. They're just there. And then finally he gets on the top and then he goes like, oh yeah, you manufactured and sold the bullets. And they're just like, when the fuck did they say that? Like who? Like that was a 2-second scene of like, oh, we found the guy that makes them. Like
No, there's always like a line or two that are supposed to lead you to the next scene. The problem is the movie is like it just moves so much. Like it is messy, and if people don't like it, I totally get it.
Yeah.
I had a ball watching it. I was like, I don't know what's happening, but let me kick my feet up. What the fuck is a temporal pincer movement? I don't know, but I had a blast. Then the car explodes, and then it becomes ice because it's reversed, and it's like, oh, the matter's changing. The car goes backwards. The explosions go backwards. Everything goes backwards. So did my expectations. I had a blast, and then I moved on with my life. And like I had a joke on Twitter. I was like, I'm gonna watch it for the discourse. I'm gonna get in some real fights today, like fun fights, different. Because I'm not a psychopath. And then I was like, no, I liked it for me. I totally get it. People don't like it. And then I moved on with my life because I'm an adult now, and that's it.
I just thought it was. I thought it was so funny because I ended up the second time I watched it with Martin, and as I was watching it with Martin, it gets to that scene where he's like, don't try, where they tell him, don't try and think about it, it's way too complicated.
Yeah.
And then literally Martin, like, he just yelled out in the middle of our watch, he was just like, so was that just the move, like the writers just going, fuck you, don't think about it, it makes sense?
Oh, like, totally. Yeah.
It makes sense because we're telling you it makes sense.
In a roundabout way, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Looper moment where Jeff Daniels is like, time travel, man, shit'll fry your brain, try to figure it out. That doesn't absolve the movie from any criticism. I want to make that very clear. I don't think that's like, oh, Nolan fucking, backwards dunked that in. He's like home free from criticism now. No, like, dude, whatever.
No, I think he shot it into the rafters. What are you talking about, man? He threw it and it went into the rafters.
I think people forget Nolan's is low or high key like a big fucking blockbuster movie nerd, and this was like him trying to do like some Michael Bay stupid movie where it's just spies being badasses and saving the world, yada yada. So I ate it up.
Did you see like there's a weird like tenant hive community where they say stuff. I don't know if this is real, but people sent me screenshots of like, oh, the last scene with like Robert Pattinson and John David Washington. Mm-hmm. They're saying like I cried. That was like the most emotional moment I've seen in theaters, and it's like
I think those people are genuine. I felt something,
but
like
that drives me wild because like I was so out of that movie in that first view, and I'm not even criticizing them. Like, how are you so engaged that you're crying during this movie?
That's the thing. It's one of those movies I'm glad I saw at home. Like I love theaters. I miss theaters so much. I got very hit with the theater nostalgia today, specifically before this recording. I was like, fuck, dude. I just imagined myself walking into like an empty theater, like at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Friday off or something like that. And I was just like kicking my feet up and enjoying life. And I'm not going to do that for like another year. And that's okay because I'm not an idiot and I understand safety precautions need to be taken. But I do miss it. But I also probably would have hated Tenet if I'd seen it in the theater.
Yeah, well, let's get that vaccine and then we'll go.
Hell yeah, baby.
Hey man, all we need to do is $100. We can rent out an entire movie theater.
I still want to do the vaccine first, and then I'm totally down.
Yeah, there you go.
Gene, Trevor said he's down to host Cats.
Cats, there we go.
So we got a free to cinema. We're coming for you, baby.
Hold on,
2021.
Is that the original edit of Cats, or is that the new one?
The butthole Cats.
I call bullshit. I call major bullshit. Sorry. Not to any of the VFX artists who worked diligently and did their best with what they could and made that movie a very entertaining experience. But I call bullshit on the studio being like, no, we have another cut. No, you don't. I've seen it 3 times.
They just had that patch, that video game patch of
the DLC.
The DLC of Cats. That's wild that they had to like go back and like, all right, take out all the bad looking effects, I guess.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they're bad, like just
perfect film now. It's so funny. But anyways, other movies we saw 2020. Let's zoom through these. That's all you saw, Nick, you think?
Love and Monsters. I saw Love and Monsters.
That's a good movie.
That's a good movie. Honestly, I thought I was about to watch garbage.
It's a solid little movie. And you know what? I didn't realize how much I missed non-Cloverfield looking monsters in movies. Because that's been kind of the norm for American movies. And these were like, oh, there's just big, normal animals. Okay, cool.
What movie was that again, Nick?
Love and Monsters.
Oh, I did. Oh, okay, I thought you said Monster Hunter.
No.
But Love and Monsters, yeah, I love that one. That was great.
Yeah, I thought not only that, but also we don't have enough. I personally think that we don't have enough love stories being told, or coming of age stories being told in the apocalypse.
There you go.
Like, and also Michael Rooker is just awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say the main criticism I had needed more Michael Rooker because he just dipped out of that movie.
Honestly, I love Michael Rooker in like a little Michael Rooker in anything works.
Yeah,
you can put a little Rooker in anything, and it spices up the movie.
Yeah, that was yeah, he was a great like character. And then dude had Jessica Henwick.
She's great.
Yeah,
I didn't never watched Iron Fist, but from the moment she showed up in Defenders, which I did see, but whatever. But like she was so good, and I was like, why wasn't she fucking cast as Iron Fist? Like that's your lead right there.
Well, she was the Iron Fist at the end of season 2, but then they
then they got canceled.
Yeah,
then they got canceled.
I'll never watch the rest of it.
We'll never find out.
Gene, other 2020 movies for you that you want to highlight? I know you and I both posted our list on Instagram though, because we were like, we don't need to do anything. The world is ending. Who cares?
Right. I was just gonna say when they asked Kevin Feige, because if you saw the interviews when they asked him about Daredevil, he's like blank. I was gonna say if they asked Kevin Feige about Iron Fist, he's like, who?
I know this isn't something people should know just because like they have lives too, but it's like, those are contracts and shit that you legally can't talk about, like what or ifs or hows or why or when, like that's why you're going to get that blank stare all the time, even if the answer was no,
Yeah, he's like, please stop.
Sorry.
He's like, but yeah, like movies I really liked. Shout out to Wolf of Snow Hollow. I really enjoyed that one. By Jim. I forgot his last name. The director.
He's a Letterboxd and Twitter guy. I know. I don't remember his name either, but yeah.
That's great. It's like a very good, unexpected sort of horror movie that takes a lot of twists and turns, and it gets really deep. So I really appreciated that film. Like I could literally say I've never seen a movie like that. So hats off to him. Sound of Metal is also good. Recommend that. Fucking great movie. And just like really random films that I was just like, I love this movie, like Peninsula. I love Tesla, which I've said in multiple episodes now. Go see Tesla.
Hive for sure.
Yeah, Tesla Hive. Mank is great. The Five Bloods, and like I still can't get Possessor out of my head. That's still my favorite movie of last year. It was like a perfect movie to see at the drive-in too. Such a weird fucking. Those Cronenbergs are just weird fucking people. I don't know why.
I hope they have therapists. You know why they're weird? They're fucking Canadian, and their neighbors are like a mile away. Their closest neighbors are like a mile away. I don't know if that's how Canada works. I don't know, but I know David Cronenberg is a pretentious asshole who makes great films, and I hope his son is at least the same.
What was that John Carpenter quote?
With genuine love.
What was the John Carpenter quote about David Cronenberg?
Oh, yeah.
Like that asshole.
Well, because okay, I guess gossip for a second then. It's a very open interview. It's available on YouTube where Carpenter's talking about how Mick Garris used to set up the Horror Masters dinners and stuff like that. Everyone go hang out. Then Eli Roth and David Cronenberg started showing up, and then David Cronenberg stopped making horror films. He started making real movies. And then David Aronofsky came over, who he thinks secretly hates horror. And so John Carpenter was like, I'm fucking old. I don't need this. I'm going to go home, smoke weed, and play Xbox. And that's why John Carpenter's the fucking best.
Yeah,
because he just like this.
He's also like the quarantine king. Like he's just been staying home and smoking weed.
Yeah, that's just his life. Like everyone's like, I can't go outside. And he's like, what do you want to go outside for? Smoke some weed and play Sonic.
Yeah, I hope he has like his own strand of weed. Like what would like the puns that you could come up with? Like the thing, cannabis. I'm trying to think of like a good one.
The Prince of Dankness.
The Prince of Dankness. They lived. Kush. I don't know.
In the Kush of Madness.
In the Kush of Madness.
Yeah, I gotta send out some emails.
So I just remembered the other movie which I watched was #Alive.
Oh yeah, I heard that one's pretty good. The zombie one, right?
Yeah, it's a Korean zombie movie. Yeah. Which is all about like this guy. He wakes up from a nap and realizes that while he was asleep, the zombie apocalypse happened. And he wakes up in his apartment. Yeah, and he wakes up in his apartment and he realizes he cannot leave. And it's because zombies have now taken over like his entire building.
Is he like a shut-in?
He is a shut-in. He was playing Call of Duty while the zombie apocalypse was happening.
Right. All right.
It's like an incel version of 28 Days Later.
Huh?
It's like an incel version of 28 Days Later.
Yeah, it's but it's pretty good though. It was pretty good. It was a good movie. Yeah. Also, Alice in Borderlands. It is the most anime live action movie you could fucking watch that isn't an actual anime. So it's a movie all about a death game. Basically, this guy is really good at games. He then him and his friends get a text to show up to somewhere, and they all have to survive a death game now. It's called Alice in Borderlands. It's on Netflix. It's really good.
Have you heard of Why Don't You Play in Hell?
Why Don't You Play in Hell? No. What is that about?
That is directed by Sion Sono. I'm not going to spoil it. It's not from last year, but look it up. It's free on Tubi right now. I think you'd like it, Nick. That's all I'm going to say. Some other 2020 stuff. Birds of Prey, I thought was terrific. Even if other superhero movies came out last year, I fucking
forgot that came out in 2020.
Oh my
God.
That's the problem with coming up with 2020. 2020 was like either 5 weeks or 50 decades. Like there's no concept.
I fucking forgot that. I thought that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I saw Underwater in January. It feels like I saw that when I was 5. You know, like good lord. But yeah, Birds of Prey, I thought was just great. Defy Blood, Spike Lee's one of his best films, and I don't say that lightly because he's a dude who like just pops out bangers like nobody's business. Nomadland by Chloe Zhao, maybe coming up as one of my favorite working filmmakers. It's only like her 3rd feature, and it's just outstanding. That was my favorite film of the year. It was filmed before the Eternals, and now it came out before the Eternals because they don't want to release Marvel movies on streaming because they need that box office to justify them. Oh, and Bill and Ted Face the Music. Not a perfect film, Bill and Ted 3, but I watch it with nothing but a smile on my face every time. It is nothing but wholesome feels.
Yeah, it's a nice, hopeful movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very cute, warm hug of a film, and that's great. So sometimes that's all you need, you know?
True.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to read out some tweets, and then we'll just hop onto our most anticipated of 2021. If they come out, we don't know for sure yet. And then we can wrap this baby up. All right, so our buddy Brandon Swafford, his most anticipated are so many. Fast 9, Black Widow, Raya and the Last Dragon, and James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. I am really looking forward to the Suicide Squad sequel, which I did not expect to say.
Same.
Yeah. You know what, Nick? You haven't been on in a while. What are you looking forward to this year? If you have anything off the top of your head.
Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah.
Well, they filmed it already, didn't they? Right?
Yeah, they did.
It.
Yeah,
it's already filmed. It was being filmed before the pandemic, and then they finished it right before all the theaters were closed. I mean, before all the things were closed. Crazy. Mission Impossible 7.
Oh yeah,
it's being filmed right now. Also, I don't know how it's gonna be, and I'm hoping it comes out this year. Matrix 4.
Oh, I'm all aboard the Matrix 4 hype train. 100%.
I don't know what it's gonna be about.
Because I think they age like way better when you watch them all in succession. I think they're.
I haven't seen. I honestly, I'll be totally honest. I usually watch Matrix 1, and then I like to make myself believe that that's the end. Where Neo flies off and then he becomes a superhero in the Matrix.
No, because it's all fucking 90s cyberpunk, like fuck the system bullshit, but they gotta bring the system, man. That's why it can't be the end.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen them all in succession in a while, but yeah, I mean, I'm looking for it.
I think they're gonna age better than a lot of movies that have come out since then.
Yeah,
probably.
Like they have genuine flaws, but they're like about something, and like not that that's the bar they have to cross, but like everything in the film relates to those central ideas and like theses. So for me they work.
What I'm also very curious about is because I know that they're saying that it's supposed to be a sequel to 3. It's supposed to be a sequel to it. And I'm more curious to see how exactly if what their idea is what I think it is, of essentially after the Matrix was, rebooted, was Neo kind of just reborn with it? Like, did everything kind of play out? Neo is just a form of code that's now in the Matrix and everything like that. And I honestly don't want it just to be Smith again.
Well, also because Hugo Weaving's not coming back. He was not asked to return, and neither was Lawrence Fishburne. So you might be onto something.
Yeah. So I thought that would be kind of interesting if it was, a little bit, if it's further in the future, people are still stuck in, and Neo and Trinity are more, they're forms of code. Like they're actually, like they're there as like monitors or trying to help out, help people who are trying to, leave willingly and stuff like that. I thought that would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's pure speculation because it seemed like that script is very tight-lipped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Wachowskis were almost done, like with movies. I think after Sense8, I forget what writer. Who's the guy who wrote for Scott Derrickson? Cargyle.
Yeah, Robert Cargyle.
That he had a conversation with Lana and Lana Wachowski, that is, and she was just basically. It seemed like she and her sister were just done, like with movies. Nothing spiteful, like we had nothing else to tell. So the fact that she's come back to do it solo is inspiring to me, because it's like, she wouldn't if there was nothing left to tell.
Yeah, because one of them's still retired too.
Yeah, I think Lily, right?
Yeah, Lily's retired.
Yeah. The other movie in which I'm looking forward to is Coming to America.
America.
The boys from what movie did they just do together?
Dolomite.
Yeah, the Dolomite is my name. They're returning to make a sequel to a comedy film from over 20 years ago. Oh, who knows? I just praised Bill and Ted 3. This could work. Is all I'm saying. It could work.
I'm just saying. I saw the trailer. It looked pretty funny. Like there were some things in there where I was like, "All right, that's pretty good, actually. I like that. I like the ideas and like where they're trying to go with it." I mean, it's kind of like a rehash. It's a sequel while also being a reboot at the same time. It's interesting. It's interesting. Also,
before we move on, really quick, a couple more tweets. At a last word, Laura PhD. All the COVID-related Christmas movies because she, and I quote, loves that trash.
Happiest Season.
Here at the Waffle Press as well.
Yeah, The Happiest Season. That was a good movie.
I always love trash.
Yeah, it was okay. I wouldn't like it so much if there were more movies like it. You know what I mean? But I'm here for the Kristen Stewart gang.
For sure. Hallmark movies are dope, dude. Hallmark movies are dope.
Hallmark movies are fun. That's what they are.
They're a lot of fun, especially during the Christmas season. Make you feel good.
Yeah. Jacob Knight, big facts? ? Dune. I'm also looking forward to Dune.
Yeah, if it comes out.
I've tried to start reading Dune. Gonna warm myself up a little bit more. Then I'm gonna try again.
I hear that's a rough read. Like it's a rough read.
It's kind of like the Tenet of books. No, nobody quote me on that. That's a stupid Twitter saying. Don't do that.
Everybody quote him on it.
Gene, what are you looking forward to?
For this next year, because it seems, well, I mean, I'm trying to like, when I came up with like a list, I'm like thinking of like, okay, it's probably going to come out like Kong versus Godzilla, I think is most likely going to come out, even though Legendary's like really pissed, right?
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that. That was like, and that kept getting delayed because it was going to come out in November, and then it's May, and then oh hey, COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing that like finally come out at a drive-in most likely is gonna be, that's my shit right there. I'm gonna love that. You know
what? I think seeing a Godzilla movie at a drive-in is like perfect there.
That is, yeah, because like they were B movies in the 50s.
Yeah, so I feel like that's the proper place to watch a Godzilla movie.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I would go to that after I'm vaccinated for sure. Like that would be so fucking awesome. I was kind of hoping for a straight to video release just in case. Like, here's the thing. Like, I'm against them betraying the filmmakers and not paying people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Totally on board with them doing the day and date stuff right now because literally they're like a handful of theaters open across the globe right now.
Yeah.
That's just the truth, you know. Another person responds at Kyle O'Vox, got a couple random ones that they're looking forward to, should they actually come out this year. A film called Connected, which I'm not familiar with, Mission Impossible 7, Dune, another Raya, Godzilla vs. Kong for Eugene, Luca, which is the new upcoming Pixar film, The King's Man, Eternals, my girl Chloe Zhao, Suicide Squad, Wendell and Wild, which I'm not familiar with, and The Beatles Get Back, and a film called Encanto. I knew about half of those. That's a good list because I only knew about half of them. I'm gonna look into the rest.
But why isn't anybody talking about Ghostbusters Afterbirth?
Afterlife, yeah.
Afterlife.
I'm looking forward to that actually.
Same thing.
I was drunkenly telling a friend like on New Year's, like, man, we could have had Ghostbusters by now. I know it was just Stranger Things with Ghostbusters, but man, I wanted to see that, even though it was just Stranger Things. They had the original cast back. Would have been great.
I'm looking forward to Ghostbusters just because it's getting back in. Also, how can you be mad at Paul Rudd?
About what?
How can you not like a Paul Rudd movie?
Yeah, no, I was like,
Paul Rudd, the equivalent of that line from Tenet where it's like, don't think about it, feel it, where it's like, yeah, I agree, but that doesn't absolve you of anything, movie, you know? Yeah. Of course I love Paul Rudd. I'm not a fucking sadist.
Was it? Do you remember? Did you see Paul Rudd was like giving away pizza at like boating lines, or he's giving away like water bottles?
Yeah, Paul Rudd seems like a good egg. You know, you got to be careful about who you say nowadays because it turns out you can't trust anyone, kids. But he does seem like a good egg.
Yeah, but
I would trust Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, we're all saying that, and then in like 5 years, it's gonna be like, I eat babies or something.
I drink blood.
How do you think I look so good?
I know.
I was just gonna say for Ghostbusters Afterlife, yeah, I mean that would have been something. I think legitimately, yeah, I was really excited for that. And then too, like at least it didn't have like such venomous discourse, like a lot, you know, random fucking crazy people targeting it.
Yeah. Yes. I'm really looking forward to No Time to Die because I've seen every Daniel Craig Bond in theaters. He was my first, I guess, theater Bond. I had seen a lot of the Bonds before with Nick and his brother because we went to middle school together. Yeah, and yeah, but Craig is my favorite Bond, probably just, you know, bias and all that. But like,
he's your first theater Bond?
Yeah, he's the only one I've seen in theaters. I missed Brosnan's era in theaters. I only saw those on
Me too.
Yeah. So big deal. I've come around on every Craig film except for Spectre, just because the end just like it just nosedives as it continues going, you know? Like, sorry.
I'm the author of all your pain, Diego.
You can forgive a lot of stuff.
It's not like unwatchable. It's just like why is
I forgive a lot of Bond, but I draw the line at like bloodline relatives destiny crap.
Yeah. So, but I am looking forward to No Time to Die. I like Cary Fukunaga. I love Craig. I love that cast. Rami Malek.
Yeah,
go for the other Oscar, I guess.
Cary Fukunaga was the sexiest Bond director too.
Oh yeah, that's just like an objective fact. But
I would definitely have to say I'm actually most looking forward to Rami Malek just because I just want to see how fucking weird Rami Malek's gonna make this character.
Yeah.
Because he knows how to make a character feel really awkward, but also kind of you're afraid of him. And like, but also he also knows how to make likable characters too. So I'm wondering what like mixture he's gonna use in this like movie.
I don't know. I think I've tapped out of him like as a performer, honestly.
Was it after
Bohemian Rhapsody is one of those like cold splashes of water to the face where it's just like, oh, I see it now. You know? It's like, I'm out. But it's like Jared Leto in Blade Runner 2049 where it's like, oh fuck, he's in that. And then you watch and it's like, oh, he is just like a weaselly asshole in that. Okay, I could work with this. So maybe same thing here, you know? Same deal.
I don't know, man. Apparently Jared Leto is supposed to be inside of the new Jack Snyder cut, so
I know.
And he has a redesign.
That's all that goodwill.
I know. We don't have time to get into all that. I'm also looking forward to the new Joel Coen film, not Coen Brothers. Joel Coen is doing it solo this time. because he's reuniting with cinematographer Bruno Del Bonal, and they're doing The Tragedy of Macbeth, starring fucking Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand.
So
I'm so excited. I loved The Ballad of Buster Scruggs so much, and no one talks about it anymore except for me and like 3 losers on Twitter. So I can't wait for this. I don't know what time of the year it's coming out, but I guess it's in the can already, and I need it. Inject it into my veins, please.
But what about Space Jam: A New Legacy?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna say that too. Space Jam. I'm looking forward to Space Jam. It's gonna have all my favorite Looney Tunes and LeBron. I love LeBron. It's gonna cut to him. He's so mad. No one say anything, just to have it cut to Diego.
Oh man, but yeah,
Diego, say something.
Hey, you think the Monstars are still gonna be the problem? Like, you think they're
no, just
do that look again. Do that look
I
again.
don't. Yeah, it wouldn't cut to me with the face. I'm sorry, I can't hold it up. But like, I don't know, whatever. It'll come and it'll go, and then it'll probably get a third one if it makes Jumanji money, and then I'll just keep ignoring it.
You know,
All right. If it's somehow good, I mean, the Lego Movie was fucking fantastic. You know, you never know with these things, but
that's what I'm saying. If it's Jumanji, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, but like I liked that Jumanji worked for me as a sequel, and I liked that other sequel they did afterwards too. I'm cool with them doing one more. Like, I don't want every reimagining to do Jumanji. You know what I mean? Like, I like that that's that. I don't want all of these to continue and try to do that also.
No. What I'm saying is, if it has a great idea but a different take on it, I think that that's where the movie starts coming in. You know, if it's literally the same movie, you know, same thing, you know, they need to go get somebody. I think that's where it kind of gets like weird. That's where it gets like lame.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not looking forward to that. Sorry, Space Jam is good for memes. That's kind of it.
Well, I know you're a fan of the Uncharted movie. Of the Uncharted games? What do you think of the actual movie coming out with Tom Holland?
Here's the thing with Tom Holland. He's a terrific actor. He is such a good actor who got stuck with these shitty blockbuster movie roles now, and he just can't escape. They've got him trapped, chained like Jesus Christ, marching him up this capitalist hill to crucify him, and he cannot break free of it. So that was me over exaggerating, obviously, but like, he's a really good actor, and I could not be less interested in the Uncharted movie because it stars also Mark Wahlberg. And I don't want to see like Hollywood's golden boy, Tom Holland's sweetheart boy, next to Mark Wahlberg, who's like, there's an immigrant, I'm going to go beat his eye out, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want that.
9/11. That's what he said.
Yeah, like, that's just like repulsive. That's like the opposite of good and evil contained into a single frame.
Which is also really weird that, you know, in the Me Too movement, he wasn't necessarily Me Too'd.
Yeah, like, how did that happen? Like, sorry, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Like when you put all those facts together, like, yeah, he did kick the shit out of somebody, and the guy lost his eye. Why the fuck is he still in movies? Like,
you know, some people just have very, very good PR teams.
Like
that's a very unfortunate truth, but like, some of them just
Chris Pratt.
He just doesn't tweet, dude. That's literally it. It's not that hard. If other people understood that, they'd be okay too. So I feel like we're going down some rabbit holes. What else?
What's wrong with Chris Pratt now? What did he do now?
It's a whole thing. He's just very.
It's a whole thing. We'll talk about.
Very conservative.
Oh, he's fine.
We'll
talk about it later.
About it later, Nick.
What about Sherlock 3?
That's not.
It's not going to come out.
It's going to come out.
No,
2021. It's going to come out. That's what it says. It says 2021.
Yeah, it was slated for every year. The year after the year it was slated.
Robert Downey Jr. says they're making real progress on it.
Yeah, he said that for the 5th time.
Robert Downey Jr. is counting his 4 Avengers films money, and living it up on his island with his family and his CGI animal. That's what he's doing.
Do you think that Robert Downey Jr. has a Scrooge McDuck vault?
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah. Why not?
Yeah, but I don't think he's. I think he's nicer than Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
I do
Scrooge
feel
McDuck
like-
is kind of nice, like on the reboot, you know?
No, I know, but like I think he's even nicer than that. I think he's a very like decent guy. You know.
I feel that. But I really do want to see, Robert Downey Jr. dive into a pile of money.
You would snap your neck if you did that.
Hey.
I don't know if I told this story on the podcast before, but there's one time a buddy of mine was him and his family invited me to go up to do a holiday getaway with other members of our family too, right? But they invited us specifically to shovel off snow from a second-story porch the night before. And so we were like, whatever. We'll just jump into the pile in the morning, and that'll be awesome, like in the movies. So what you got to do when you're shoveling snow and you make a pile so you can jump into it, you don't wait several hours for it to harden, because real life snow hardens very quickly. And it kind of gets this other layer of coat from the snow that falls overnight. There's not a lot of leeway in terms of teenage boy bodies hitting a big mound like that. So just forethought for anyone planning vacations after COVID. If you do that, that just reminded me of that. That's all.
Wow, that's very unfortunate for you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, bad.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was fun. Shout out to Hondo. Any other things we want to highlight, or we kind of good here?
No.
I would say the Halloween Kills. I'm definitely going to look forward to that, because Jason Blum said no matter what happens, they're going to release it. So.
Oh, okay. So it'll be a straight to video then.
Most likely, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Jason Blum. Jason Blum's like, no Hollywood producer's perfect, but that dude hits way more than he misses, and I gotta respect that. And I'm really looking forward to that too. And also, I'm really looking forward to watching more movies at home this year.
Yeah,
So,
me too.
Good time to catch up on your blind spots. I got some Kurosawa I hadn't seen before last year.
Yeah.
That was cool. Gotta get all up in that. And yeah, on that note, let's wrap it up here. 2021 coming at you hot. Nick, where can the people find you online?
Find me at Instagram and Twitter, the Nick Valero.
You could find me on.
Oh, sorry, that was me. I don't know why I waited so long. We're getting back into the swing of it. That's what this is.
Yeah.
Gene.
Diego, we're going down the line, man.
Yeah. Oh, but all of our screens are gonna look different.
You could find me on Twitter and Instagram, Gene9892.
And you can find me at the Diego Crespo. Check out the Waffle Press on Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and Patreon. You can get early access to a bunch of other stuff coming up soon, and other retrospectives. A little technical delay on my end. We're getting that started out. It's going to cost a pretty penny, but that's okay, because you know what? I was financially comfortable for a minute there. Now I'm not because of this, but that's okay. We're gonna persevere. We're gonna go through the year with high hopes. We're gonna achieve those hopes. And Donald Trump's going to be out of the White House, which is great.
Yeah.
So fuck yeah, fuck off, dude. Fix your hearts or die. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We have been professionally unprofessional.